The Toronto Blue Jays are secretly planning something absolutely massive, folks, and multiple new reports have just dropped in the past 24 hours, revealing not only exactly what we want to hear as desperate fans waiting for the next big move, but information that shows the Blue Jays are going all out in ways nobody expected. One player in particular is going above and beyond what any of us could have imagined when it comes to recruiting one of the top free agents still available on the market. We're talking about behind-the-scenes recruitment operations, secret meetings at golf tournaments, social media campaigns orchestrated by multiple star players, and a level of coordinated effort to land Kyle Tucker that's unlike anything we've seen from this organization in recent memory. This isn't just the front office making phone calls and crunching numbers. This is players taking matters into their own hands, stepping out of their comfort zones and doing everything in their power to convince a superstar to join this championship chase. But that's not all we're covering today. We've also got some genuinely concerning updates surrounding Bichette that suggest his departure from Toronto is becoming more and more of a foregone conclusion with each passing hour. The Phillies are circling. Don Mattingly's presence is pulling Bo toward Philadelphia. And the Blue Jays' smoke surrounding a reunion has been pulled back dramatically. Plus, we've got crucial intel about which teams are dropping out of the Kyle Tucker sweepstakes, mysterious wrinkles that one top insider is trying to confirm, and so much more that you absolutely cannot afford to miss. You're going to want to stay tuned all the way to the very end of this video because we're connecting all the dots, analyzing what every report means for Toronto's championship aspirations, and breaking down exactly how George Springer's secret mission could be the difference between landing Tucker or watching him sign elsewhere. Before we dive into the absolute chaos, if you guys aren't already subscribed to this channel, what are you even doing? You've been absolute beasts with your support, and we're on the road to our big goal of 30,000 subscribers. Hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and let's dive right into the madness. Now, when I say the Blue Jays are secretly planning something big, I'm not being dramatic or exaggerating for effect. This is based on concrete reporting from one of the most plugged-in insiders covering the team, and it reveals information that should have every Blue Jays fan absolutely fired up about where this Kyle Tucker pursuit is heading. Let's start with the report that dropped yesterday from Mitch Bannon, because what he revealed is genuinely exciting and shows a level of organizational commitment that goes way beyond just making the highest financial offer. Bannon was asked specifically about Kyle Tucker and the Blue Jays' efforts to recruit him, and here's what he had to say that's making waves throughout Blue Jays Nation. Quote, "I think that Toronto is being pretty aggressive in the recruitment aspect of Tucker. But that's just the beginning, folks." Because Bannon then dropped this absolute gem regarding the George Springer and Kyle Tucker sighting that we all saw at that golf tournament a few days ago. Bannon stated, "In regards to the Springer and Tucker sighting, I don't believe that's the only instance of the DJs actively recruiting Tucker." Read that again and let it sink in. This isn't a one-off situation where Springer happened to bump into Tucker at a golf event and they took a casual photo together. This is an ongoing, coordinated recruitment campaign with multiple touchpoints, multiple interactions, and a deliberate strategy to make Kyle Tucker feel wanted and valued by the Toronto organization. Now let me give you the full context of how this conversation went down, because the details matter tremendously here. J.D. Bunkus was interviewing Mitch Bannon and asked him why he had specifically reported that the Blue Jays were increasing their efforts and have ramped up their pursuit of Kyle Tucker in recent weeks. Bannon's response was absolutely fascinating and reveals so much about what's happening behind the scenes. Bannon explained that George Springer was recently seen in, this is confirmed. We have photographic evidence at a golf tournament with Kyle Tucker. But here's what makes this so significant. Bannon emphasized that for George Springer to do something like this, to actively and publicly recruit a free agent, is extremely unusual and noteworthy. Springer typically keeps a very low profile. He's not the kind of player who puts himself out there in recruitment efforts. He stays quiet and focuses on his own game. So the fact that Springer is breaking from his normal pattern, that he's willing to step into this public recruiting role, tells you everything you need to know about how seriously the Blue Jays players are taking this Kyle Tucker pursuit. This isn't lip service. This isn't going through the motions. This is George Springer, one of the veteran leaders on this team, recognizing that landing Tucker could be the difference between winning a championship and falling short. And he's willing to do whatever it takes to make it happen. Bannon went on to say that the Blue Jays are being pretty aggressive right now in their recruitment efforts. describing it as a bit of a courting session, but he also acknowledged the reality that ultimately, this is going to come down to the contract numbers. The Blue Jays can recruit all they want. They can make Tucker feel loved and wanted. They can sell him on the vision of winning championships in Toronto, but if they're not willing to match or exceed what other teams are offering financially, none of that recruitment matters. However, and this is crucial, Bannon made it very clear that the Blue Jays are not only going aggressive behind the scenes, and he specifically noted that it was very notable that George Springer has now been spotted with Tucker multiple times. That's not once, not a coincidence, not a random encounter multiple times. This is deliberate. This is coordinated. This is a full-court press recruitment effort. And it's not just George Springer doing the recruiting. We've all seen the Instagram posts. We've all watched Vladimir Guerrero Jr. commenting on Tucker's social media. We've seen Alejandro Kirk getting involved. We've witnessed this coordinated social media campaign from multiple Blue Jays players, all designed to make Tucker feel like he'd be joining a brotherhood, a family, a team that genuinely wants him there. Mitch Bannon emphasized this point, specifically when he said there have been multiple instances where the DJs are trying to recruit Tucker, and he called this the biggest thing. Here, assuming Tucker gets the money he's looking for, Ron, that's obviously going to be the major obstacle that determines where he signs. He has to feel very comfortable joining Toronto. He needs to believe in the vision, trust the organization, connect with the players, and feel confident that this is the right fit both on and off the field. And here's where Bannon made a point that I think is absolutely crucial for Blue Jays fans to understand. Every little thing matters in these recruitment efforts. People on social media were saying not to put too much stock into George Springer being seen with Kyle Tucker at that golf tournament, dismissing it as meaningless or coincidental. Bannon is saying the exact opposite. He's telling us to throw that stock in, to recognize how significant it is. To understand that this kind of public recruitment effort from a veteran star who normally keeps a low profile is extremely intriguing and noteworthy. Let me paint the full picture for you in case if you missed the original sighting or didn't watch my video from a few days ago breaking this down. Kyle Tucker, former Blue Jay Michael Brantley, remember him from his brief stint in Toronto, and George Springer were all in attendance together at the SoFi Center for a golf club event. This was 4 days ago at the time I'm recording and uploading this video, and the photos that emerged showed them together, clearly friendly, clearly comfortable with each other. This is what we're talking about when we say these little things matter tremendously. This isn't just business. Isn't just contract negotiations through agents and front office executives. This is players building relationships, creating bonds, making a free agent feel like he's already part of the team before he even signs. And it's kind of exciting to see the Blue Jays getting involved in this fun recruitment stuff, using every tool at their disposal to land their primary target. But here's the thing that has me a little bit nervous, and I need to be honest with you. There are a lot of things still standing between the Blue Jays and actually signing Kyle Tucker. Recruitment is great. Player relationships matter. Making someone feel wanted is important, but at the end of the day, if another team offers significantly more money or more years, Tucker is probably going to take that deal regardless of how many golf outings he has with George Springer. So while these recruitment efforts are encouraging and suggest the players are bought in and doing everything they can to help the front office land Tucker, we still need Ross Atkins and ownership to step up with the financial commitment that actually gets this deal across the finish line. The secret behind the scenes recruitment. The multiple people now actively recruiting Tucker, the coordinated effort to all of that is fantastic. But it only matters if the money is there to back it up. Speaking of updates on the Kyle Tucker front, we did get a bit of new information from Robert Murray that's simultaneously intriguing and frustrating because it doesn't really tell us much concrete. Murray reported, "We're not close to a signing yet for Tucker, okay? That's disappointing but not surprising given how long this process has dragged out." But then Murray added this mysterious tidbit that has everyone speculating. I've heard some different things over the last 24-ish hours that I'm still trying to confirm that would be kind of interesting little wrinkles here in the Tucker sweepstakes. But as of this point, I can't get them across the finish line. There's some movement here, but again, not necessarily to the point where it's close. What the hell does that mean? Interesting little wrinkles. Movement that's not necessarily close. This is the kind of vague insider speak that drives fans absolutely crazy because it suggests something is happening without telling us what that something actually is. I'm assuming, and Robert Murray is one of the best and most connected reporters in the baseball business. It's that some team is making positive strides in their pursuit of Tucker. The question is whether that team is the Blue Jays or someone else. If you've been following this channel religiously like I know you have, you'll remember that Robert Murray has been pushing the Blue Jays and Kyle Tucker connection hard over the past several weeks. He's repeatedly indicated that Toronto is probably the leader in this race, that Tucker is genuinely interested in playing for the Blue Jays, that there's real momentum building toward a deal. So, the fact that Murray is now reporting some movement while also saying we're not necessarily close is good news if we assume. He's still talking about the Blue Jays being that team making progress. But Murray also mentioned he's heard about some little wrinkles that he's trying to confirm, and that has me a little bit worried. Maybe that's referring to the New York Mets situation that's been lurking in the background throughout this entire process. Maybe Steve Cohen is making a last-minute push with an offer the Blue Jays can't or won't match. Maybe there's a third mystery team that's emerged as a legitimate contender. We just don't know at this point, and that uncertainty is killing me. The most notable and concrete piece of information from Murray's update is simply that we're not close yet to a Kyle Tucker signing, so the waiting game continues. The speculation intensifies, and Blue Jays fans are left refreshing Twitter every 30 seconds hoping for breaking news. I don't know when close is actually going to arrive, whether it's days away or weeks away, but the fact that we're still in limbo is frustrating given how long this has been dragging on. Meanwhile, Bichette's situation, and we'll dive deep into this in just a minute, seems to be progressing much more rapidly. He's got a meeting scheduled with the Phillies this upcoming weekend or early next week. And the buzz around baseball is that he's going to sign with Philadelphia very soon after that meeting happens. I mean, at this point, I'm operating under the assumption that Bo is going to be a Philly unless something dramatic changes. And that means the Blue Jays absolutely must land Kyle Tucker to avoid this offseason being viewed as a catastrophic failure. Now, Murray mentioning these mysterious wrinkles is interesting, and I've been trying to piece together what he might be referring to. Maybe it's the George Springer golf outing and the aggressive recruitment efforts we've been discussing. Maybe that's a new wrinkle being thrown into the mix where the Blue Jays are recruiting Tucker more aggressively than other teams expected, and it's changing the dynamics of the negotiations. Or maybe Murray is hearing about the Mets ramping up their pursuit, making a stronger push than previously reported. We heard just yesterday or 2 days ago that the Mets are very much in on Kyle Tucker, and if Steve Cohen decides he wants Tucker badly enough, he can outbid literally anyone in baseball without even blinking. That would definitely qualify as an interesting wrinkle that could complicate Toronto's efforts. I suspect we'll hear more information today or in the coming days as these wrinkles Murray mentioned either get confirmed or fall apart. I genuinely think a signing is going to happen soon, whether it's Kyle Tucker or someone else. The dominoes are starting to fall, teams are making their final decisions, and we're approaching the point where players need to commit so everyone can move forward with their offseason plans. One thing that could still be Tucker, though Murray saying it's not necessarily close, is quite interesting and somewhat concerning. We've had reporters like Ken Rosenthal say that the big move, it would seem to me, is Tucker for them when talking about the Blue Jays. But at this point in time, I'm just hoping one of these major free agents signs somewhere soon so we can stop living in this agonizing state of uncertainty. I don't see the Blue Jays being super involved with Alex Bregman at this stage, even though reports from John Heyman and others are kind of using the DJs as leverage in Bregman negotiations, saying Toronto is still interested. That feels like classic agent gamesmanship designed to drive up Bregman's price rather than genuine Blue Jays interest. The focus is on Tucker. The eggs are in the Tucker basket, and if they don't get Tucker, then we're looking at a very different and much less exciting offseason outcome. One notable piece of news that dropped last night comes from Rob Parker, John Morosi, and Chris Van Cleve, who said on their show, "I'm going to say Kyle Tucker is not going to the Dodgers." Now that's interesting, because it represents a process of elimination that works in Toronto's favor. If the Dodgers are out, if they're not making a serious run at Tucker, that's one fewer mega-rich competitor the Blue Jays have to worry about. I think at this point it's genuinely down to just the Mets and the Jays as the two primary contenders for Kyle Tucker. The Dodgers could have, of course, swoop in at the last minute. You never want to count them out because they have unlimited resources and a habit of landing whoever they target, but the reporting suggests they're focused elsewhere and not making Tucker a priority. This always kind of made sense if you think about it logically. The Dodgers just won back-to-back World Series championships. They've got a loaded roster, and while adding Tucker would obviously make them even better, it's not a desperate need the way it is for Toronto. If the Dodgers were only willing to offer Tucker a short-term deal, I'd assume Steve Cohen and the Mets would rather get involved and offer a little bit more money on a longer commitment to blow everyone else out of the water. So keep your eyes on this process of elimination as teams drop out of contention. Every team that exits the Tucker sweepstakes improves Toronto's chances, narrows the competition, and potentially gives the Blue Jays more leverage in negotiations. But now we need to talk about Bichette, because there's been a significant development that has many people around baseball. It's operating under the assumption that his days as a Blue Jay are officially over. A report dropped yesterday, and I need to caveat this by saying it comes from a reporter who's somewhat iffy in terms of reliability. But he does have 50 or 100,000 Twitter followers, which gives him some credibility, stating that infielder Bichette is almost certainly headed to the Phillies. The report specifically mentions that Don Mattingly, who was Toronto's bench coach and had an incredibly close relationship with Bo during their time together, is now with the Phillies and will assume a similar role there. That personal connection is apparently pulling Bo strongly toward Philadelphia, and the baseball world is starting to treat his signing with the Phillies as a foregone conclusion. The same report also included some interesting nuggets about other teams' plans. It stated that the Yankees don't have a plan B outside of Cody Bellinger because Kyle Tucker is too expensive for them. So the Yankees are reportedly out on Kyle Tucker entirely, viewing him as financially unattainable, and they're also out on Bichette if he goes to the Phillies as expected. That means New York is scrambling with limited options, and their offseason could end up being a massive disappointment for Yankees fans who expected big moves. There's a bunch of interesting information swirling around here, and everyone in baseball media is kind of talking as if it's completely inevitable that the Phillies are going to land Bichette. I'm not quite ready to make that declaration definitively yet, though I am slowly starting to operate under that assumption as more reports come out and the smoke gets thicker. The Blue Jays' smoke surrounding a Bo reunion has been pulled back dramatically in recent days. There are still some reporters out there saying the GAs remain in contact with Bo's camp and shouldn't be counted out completely, but the momentum has clearly shifted toward Philadelphia until Bichette officially signs somewhere, and I guess technically right now he isn't a Blue Jay anymore since he's a free agent. I'm never going to completely count Toronto out of bringing him back. But if this is true, if Bo really is headed to Philadelphia, I guess it's a better outcome than watching him sign with the Yankees or Red Sox and having to face him 19 times a year in the AL East? At least if he's in the National League with the Phillies, the Blue Jays only see him in spring training or a potential World Series matchup. But here's the thing that cannot be emphasized enough. If Bichette signs with the Phillies, that means the Blue Jays absolutely must land Kyle Tucker. There's no plan B at that point. You cannot lose both Bo and Tucker and have this offseason be considered anything other than a catastrophic failure despite all the other good moves Ross Atkins has made. The pressure is mounting, the stakes are rising, and every day that passes without a Kyle Tucker signing increases the anxiety level for Blue Jays fans who are desperate for this team to land the impact bat they so clearly need. George Springer is doing his part with the secret golf outings and recruitment efforts. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and other players are doing their part with social media campaigns and public lobbying. Now it's up to Ross Atkins and ownership to do their part by offering the money that actually gets this deal done. So folks, let me know down below in the comments what your thoughts are on all of this. Are you encouraged by the George Springer recruitment mission? Do you think these behind-the-scenes efforts will actually make a difference? Are you worried about the mysterious wrinkles Robert Murray mentioned? And how do you feel about Bichette almost certainly headed to the Phillies? Drop all your thoughts, reactions, predictions, and hot takes in the comments. I want to hear from every single one of you about whether you're confident the Blue Jays close the deal on Tucker, or if you're starting to get nervous that he might sign elsewhere. If you enjoyed this breakdown of all the latest Blue Jays developments, the secret Springer recruitment mission, and everything happening with Tucker and Bo, smash that like button right now. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because we're posting daily content covering every single angle of this incredible offseason. We're on the road to 30,000 subscribers and we need your help to get there. Turn on those notifications so you're alerted the moment the next big development drops. Because when Kyle Tucker finally signs somewhere, You're going to want to know immediately, and we'll be the first channel bringing you that news with all the analysis and reaction you need. Share this video with your fellow Blue Jays fans who need to know about George Springer's secret mission. Tag them in the comments. Send them the link. Let's get everyone in Blue Jays Nation fired up about where this is heading. A lot of crazy things are happening behind the scenes that we're only now learning about. The Blue Jays are going all out for Kyle Tucker in ways that go far beyond simple contract negotiations. George Springer is stepping out of his comfort zone to recruit publicly. Multiple players are coordinating social media campaigns. This is a full organizational push to land a superstar. I'm going to keep you updated every single step of the way as this story develops. We'll be here with daily videos breaking down every report, every rumor, every development as it happens. Thank you guys for watching, for supporting this channel, for being part of this incredible community of Blue Jays fans. The dominoes are falling, the decisions are coming, and very soon we'll know whether George Springer's secret recruitment mission was successful or if the Blue Jays fall short in their pursuit of Kyle Tucker. Stay locked in, stay hopeful, stay ready for breaking news at any moment. Until next time, let's go Blue Jays. Let's land Kyle Tucker. Let's make this offseason everything we hoped it would be. See you in the next video.